after the new one, and then it gets hard. And they're like, oh, this isn't as fun as it was. I'm going to set it over here with this other one, and oh look, here's another thing that's shiny. And before you know it, they've run after a half a dozen shiny things. Hey, it's Don Skaggs again with Empowered Inventing, where we try to help you get unstuck from wherever you're stuck at in the invention process. And that's actually one of the things I want to talk about today, is because there are so many inventors and entrepreneurs out there that just feel like they're just stuck. They feel like a hamster on a wheel. And the unfortunate thing is that the result of that is all over this country there are inventors and entrepreneurs that have some great ideas that are just written down on paper somewhere. They're written on a Word doc someplace, or they've got some prototypes built, or maybe they even went into production and have a run of inventory just sitting gathering dust somewhere, and it's not moved beyond that point because they got stuck somewhere in the process. And I want to talk to you a little bit about getting stuck and how to get unstuck. Now, if you're one of those inventors or entrepreneurs and you feel like your invention or startup is just frozen in time, where you just can't move to that next step, there's some things to keep in mind with this. And the first thing to remember is that it's natural for us to want to stay inside of our comfort zones. And a lot of times there's all these different steps of the process. There's everything from documentation to building prototypes to writing down, naming your invention, writing down what it is, what it needs to be, and protecting yourself with intellectual property in the right way. There's all these different steps, and we teach this. We have our idea step system where we actually teach you all the steps you need to go from an idea to an actual finished product. But a lot of times inventors, they get on one step of the process, and the one that usually they're really good at and that they like really well, but then they get stuck in that process because the next one is a lot bigger and a lot scarier than the one that they're in now. But this one feels comfortable. Oh, this is nice and cozy. I'm going to stay here for a while. And you end up getting stuck. And sometimes it's fear that holds us back to get to the next step. Sometimes we just don't know what to do. We don't know how to fix what we need to do next. And that's where we need help. That's where we need other people. That's where we need to gain the right wisdom about that next step. We need to remove that fear. So here's some things I want you to keep in mind. First thing is this, and that's just take a breath and realize that a lot of us get stuck sometimes. And we're all busy, and we we kind of put it off to the side if the next thing is just a little too big, a little too hard, or a little too scary. So we just kind of set it aside, and then we end up ignoring it for way too long. So we've all been there, but you have to really push yourself in order to get into that next step. If that next step is big and scary, you need to remove the scary part by arming yourself with education and information that you need, just like the ones we do in these videos and in our online classes. Now, another thing to keep in mind, and I've seen this so many times with inventors and entrepreneurs, don't move on to something else that you see that's shiny out there just because what you're working on now became difficult. And I see that. It's a lazy maneuver, but it's human nature, and we like to do it, especially inventors and entrepreneurs, because we like, what's that new thing? What's that new cool thing? So we're working on this cool new thing that we've discovered, this great new idea we came up with, and then all of a sudden it gets hard. And it gets hard, and so we're like, oh, this was a lot harder. This isn't as fun as it was when I first started. And then they see something over here that's shiny, a new idea. And they think, yeah, I'm just going to set this aside. I'm going to go after the new one. And they go after the new one, and then it gets hard. And they're like, oh, this isn't as fun as it was. I'm going to set it over here with this other one. And oh, look, here's another thing that's shiny. And before you know it, they've run after a half a dozen shiny things, and they've got all these half-finished projects, or these things that they just started. And not one of them ever becomes successful because they've got too many things to work on. And they're all at stages that they are not comfortable with moving. So what do? They go to the next shiny thing. I've seen this with inventor after inventor after inventor. Don't do this. Pick a horse, stay on that horse till you get to the finish line. And pick the right horse, but pick a horse that will get you to the finish line. But stay on it. And don't just go after something else that's shiny because what you were working on became difficult. Now, the other thing I want you to keep in mind is know when it's time to press on and know when it's time to walk away. Sometimes it's just time to walk away. And other times you need to just stay with it and keep on. Now, how do you know the difference? Well, usually it's not internal, although sometimes your intuition will kind of tell you things. But that intuition needs to be based on outside data that you're getting. And you need, if you're not getting outside data, if you're one of those inventors living in your own little bubble universe, you need to get out of that bubble universe. You need to get out there and on the dance floor and see what other people are doing and see what other people say about your idea. Now, you need to protect yourself first, and we teach strategies on how to do that without spending a ton of money. And you need to get out there though and get this input, and this input will tell you. I remember one project I worked on one time, and one of the last presentations we did with a company, they said, well, let us go look at it and then let us go discuss it afterwards. And they were all excited looking at this new technology. And the guy that came back was very honest with me, and I love people that are very, very honest, and just tell you, okay, Don, this is exactly what happened. They said, this was really cool and we were all excited about it, but then we all looked at each other and thought, okay, but how are we going to sell it? Who's going to buy it? And they really didn't have a customer for it. And even though they were so enamored, as much as we were with the technology, they just didn't have a customer for it. It was a solution looking for a problem. And by the way, if you're looking at different projects and different ideas to work on, that's one good criteria. Find a problem that needs a solution, not a solution that needs a problem. So don't let that happen to you. So know when it's time to walk away and when it's time to press on. And again, what's going to tell you that is stuff from the outside, not from the inside. It's always about them and it's not about you. Now, lastly, I want to say get the right help when you need it. And again, with Empowered Inventing, our three tenets here is learn, plan, and do. And we want you to learn what you need to learn, and then get the right planning that you need. If you need consulting help, if you need that sort of thing, find a good consultant. If no matter where you are in the country, usually you are very close to an inventor group like ours here. And so there's a lot of good groups all across the country. But find one that's close to you. And if you're not within driving distance of one, if you're just too far, if you're way out in BFE someplace, then we have online meetings you can even go to. So get with other inventors and get with good people, good like-minded people who can impart to you wisdom and roads they've been down and share their experiences. Those are the best. Get the right help when you need it. So and again, good vetted services that are out there. Don't fall for the scams. There's lots of scams out there. Again, we teach you how to avoid those things. But get out there and get the right help when you need it. Don't be on an island just trying to figure it all out on your own. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Again, I'm Don Skaggs, Empowered Inventing. EmpoweredInventing.com is our website, and I will look to see you at the next meeting, workshop, on the next online class, or on the next video.